Hey guys, so before you get into this video, I just wanted to make a real quick video. Thank you again, Josh, so much for letting me do this with you. I know in the video I say it a couple of times, but this was such a fun thing. I was actually kind of nervous when it came time to do it today. Because I'm just about to sit down and start editing. I thought I'd do a quick little preface for this. There's not going to be too much editing going on. I'm just going to cut out little snippets that were a little boring or just a little kind of cringy and really shouldn't be in there. And, like I said, I was a little nervous going into this, so pardon all my fidgeting and kind of, biting at my nails. I do that when I'm nervous. So, Josh is a good friend of mine, so I shouldn't have been as nervous as I was, but it's just because I've never really done anything like this before. So it was really just kind of like nerve-wracking, I guess, to not fuck it up. But that being said, I do hope you guys enjoy what I do keep. It's going to be just little minor things that I just kind of clip out. And I state this at the end, but I'll say it here again anyway. This right here is an unopened copy of their new album, The World Game. I should have had him get the guys to sign it, but oh well. One of you is going to get this. Basically, I'm giving this away to one of you guys. Put your names down in the comment below if you want it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put them all into a hat. I decided I'm going to end up live streaming it on my Facebook community for the channel. I'll leave a link down in the description if you guys aren't a part of it and haven't joined into it yet. I'll leave the link down there so you can join it. I'm going to let this run until the end of the month. So it's April 30th, April 31st. I don't know if there's a 31st. I think it's the 30th. Yeah. I'm going to live stream May 1st. And, yeah, so whoever's name I draw, you're going to win this, and you're going to get it shipped to you, and you're going to get to enjoy some badass metal. I hope you guys enjoy this. I really do think, once again, Josh, I say it so many times, but I'll continue to say it. This is a hell of a record. Probably the best metal album I've heard, maybe since Hardwired. And it's been over a year. And there have been some pretty damn hyped up releases that should have killed it, but didn't. So, really good job. Breaking Benjamin's Ember's coming out in a few days, so I wouldn't really consider that metal, but anywho, I've been rambling way too long. Let's get into this. Hope you guys enjoy the interview. Fucking rock on. So, hello friends. I am joined by the lovely Josh Zalar.
Hello.
He is of the band Invictra, and they have a new album, and I have taken a listen to it. Fucking killer, by the way.
Thank you.
Some of the riffs on there, I had to listen to it twice to figure out what the hell is he playing. Because I was like, it was like half blues, but then it was like half like a dissonant chord that I couldn't really figure out. But yeah, so really good album. Highly recommend it, you guys. All the links and shit will be down below, all their social media and stuff. And so, got some questions, some from you bastards, some just digging around the internet. And yeah, we're gonna go from there. So, this one was kind of inspired by a couple of fans and a couple of questions that I said, let's blend them together. Just a little kind of backstory. How did Invictra kind of get going? Because I know you're kind of, the founder, kind of lead guy in the band.
Well, Invictra started in 2014, I guess. I was still in high school.
Okay.
I'd graduated in 2015. We started like that fall, winterish. Mm-hmm. Just dudes kind of jamming. We always wanted to play music.
Yep.
Incidentally, none of those other three that are with me are here today, but, I still... even after, differences and whatnot went aside, I just wanted to keep playing music with dudes I like being around, so, it's right around the time it got started.
Okay. And, alright, yeah, so there was, so what inspired you to start making music and kind of form Invicta? That was a question Hannah asked, so, yeah, there you go.
Okay, well, thanks, Hannah. And, what inspired me was, I was an only child, and growing up, I would mess around on scooters and, throw rocks and baseballs like all the other kids. But,
Yep.
my mom always had, like, Guns N' Roses and Van Halen CDs and cassettes.
Yep.
Because,
Yeah.
I remember the old CD player she had the cassette thing, so I'd
Yep.
steal those and, like, Motley Crue and stuff, just kind of like early rock, hair
yeah.
metal stuff. And,
Yep. Love it.
and then I finally got guitar. I actually got one when I was 5, but I didn't really touch it. It was like an acoustic, and then
Yeah, like one
wanted
of those little first acts. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And I wanted to play right around the time 3rd grade started, so I was like 7 years old, and so I just kept playing. I was writing like by 4th grade I was writing joke songs about like King George to like AC/DC songs.
There you go.
It was fun, but no, I mean, just the more I played guitar, the more different kinds of music I got into. From AC/DC and Kiss and Van Halen came Metallica and Megadeth.
Yep.
And
Yep, which I know, I watch your social media all the time. Those are 2 of your biggest influences, because I see you chatting with Dave Mustaine all the time on Twitter.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Sometimes he answers. And I'm like, yeah, cool, a guy with almost 1 million, followers, but...
Yeah, like one of the big 4, oh shit.
And that's why I've always thought Twitter, this is kind of a side handle, I've always thought Twitter was the coolest social media, because you could directly interact with people on it. Mm-hmm. You can kind of get that on Facebook and Instagram a little bit, but mostly I find Twitter...
Twitter
is the one I've had the most success on.
Yeah, they tend to be a lot more active there, yeah. So there's a song on the album called The Serpents Bite. I did the reaction to that. You guys have seen that probably. I gotta wonder what inspired that, because that was just the lyrical content of it, and just the whole every riff in there was just killer. I blew my mind, and I was really curious, how the hell did he come up with it?
I loved your reaction videos, by the way. They were awesome. We were all super humbled. I
Yeah.
sent them to the dudes right after he did it. I'm like, this is my buddy Damon, and check this out, man. It's cool to see other people and hear what other people have to say about our music,
Yeah.
Because a lot of times when we're writing it, it's just us sitting there hearing it and us thinking it's cool. So when other people think the same way, we we appreciate it. Or even if they don't, we want to hear it.
Yeah.
But what inspired Serpents Bite was it was just kind of riffs. Really, they all came together at once with that song. I just kind of sat down. I actually talked about it. Alex brings it up a lot, and he's like, sometimes we'll have like 2 or 3 riffs that me and Alex will come up with, and then it doesn't really go anywhere for a while. And then one day I'll try to work on those riffs, and then I'll just end up accidentally writing a whole different song, like that has nothing to do with those other riffs. And that's what happened. And then I didn't know what to write the lyrics about, because 99% of the time the music comes before the lyrics.
Right.
I think it's easier to hear the music and hear what that calls for. And he was like, well, we have all like these lyrics, that kind of, paint a broad picture where it's like, politics and, feelings, I guess, or whatever. It's just, a lot of them are for interpretation, but it's kind of like a broad palette. And he's like, how about we just do a song like Whiplash by Metallica? Where it's just like, it's just kind of about the crowd or the concert, having fun.
Yeah.
And that's really what that song's about, and it's a fun one to play.
Yeah, it's, as soon as I heard it the second time, it really kind of drew to like Kill 'Em All kind of Metallica, only it was way longer than a lot of those songs ended up being. But
yeah,
I definitely heard it once I went back and listened to it. And there was another one on there, Cardinal Sin, that you guys had put out like a year before or so, something like that. And I remember hearing that for the first time, and I literally I just was completely in awe of the song. It was freaking. I was at that point. I was like just kind of getting into Hardwired, like the new song that had come out by Metallica, and then that came out. I was like, holy shit, this is amazing. So I was curious. Was that originally planned to be on the album, or was that just kind of meant to be something just kind of one off?
Well, we had that. Originally, it was meant to be a one-off.
Okay.
When we wrote it, because it was written well before anything else was.
Okay.
And the time that I had written that song, I wanted that song to have. I felt like if it was going to be like, I didn't know where the band was going, and if I felt like that was going to be the last song we had written, that I wanted it to be a really awesome one.
Yeah, it was. And, yeah, that would definitely be a good one to go out on.
And that's pretty much what it was.
Sure.
And then obviously things picked up steam, and we had a great year, and then winning the Battle of the Bands with that money helped us record the album. And
Oh yeah.
after that, we did a re-recording of it on the album.
Okay.
Things are a little different. It's pretty much the same song.
Okay.
But we did little nuances. We played it live so much, and in the band room where we just kind of did little doodles with it, and we liked what happened. But yeah, that was just a fun song to put together. It was the first one with Alex, and there was the second recording with Dylan. We had a different bass player at the time, and
Okay.
that was fun. It was fun one though.
Oh yeah. So, just out of curiosity, the lyrical inspiration for that definitely sounds a little more kind of politically charged.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Yeah, I was curious about that because it was like, I listened to it the first time and just instantly could hear just like nothing but just a political statement about what was going on at the time. Because when that came out, that was really kind of around election time.
Mm-hmm.
So that was, I definitely heard it.
Yeah, it was right after election time. I had pretty much written the lyrics during election time,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I mean, I don't want to dive too much exactly into like personal things because whatever what I put in the song is what I want people to hear, and that song is pretty much just about like, you got to think for yourself. Spit out what is spoon fed. That's what I say in the chorus, where it's like, if you see something that someone tells you is like, well, this is just that way because of it, because I say so, or because this person says so, that means 100 people like that. But
Right.
Humans would never progress if there wasn't that 1, 2, or 5 people that were like, but what about that? Or
Yeah,
how about we all think universally different?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, this one I kind of thought was a good one. Any kind of like stories from like a gig or recording the album that were kind of just something really funny or just like what the hell's going on kind of thing, like.
I mean, there's always been tons of those. Trying to think of a specific one during recording of the album. I remember we were doing the noise for the end of Within the Darkness. And
Yes.
We have kind of like that noise.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that was when Dylan's friends, not Alex. Alex's friend. Fuck, I keep messing that up, man. One of Dylan's friends, his name was Cooper Bay.
Okay.
And he's a really cool dude, but he had all these contact microphones. He would put them on like metal plates and then, drop chains onto them, or we had like glass bongs we'd hook them up to, and he would just get the water sound,
Okay, yeah.
And it made these cool sounds because the microphones would pick up the vibrations of whatever it was on.
Okay.
And that's a lot of like, I mean, there's probably like 3 or 4 tracks layered onto it. Those are what those sounds are.
Okay.
And I remember there was this time because he went for like 15 minutes, and then we just kind of chopped it up and put it at the end of the song. And he put it in his mouth at one point to make sounds. And it's really quiet at the end. I think it's at the second break in that outro there. But if you listen really closely, he did like this noise, and it's like, oh, but it was so funny because it was like right inside of his mouth, and we listened to it over and over and over again. And then one time we had just like isolated it during the mix,
Oh my
so it's
God.
like all this serious song, and then it was just this goofy ass noise, and we were laughing so hard at that.
Oh my God.
That was a funny time.
Oh yeah, that sounds like a hell of a time recording that. So, was there anything different when you guys were recording the album as compared to your EP? Because I love the EP, and it sounded amazing, but this one just sounded way more just full and just full of just like everything. I hear the bass. There was that one part, I think it was in a Serpents Bite, where the bass just kind of, everything just dropped, and it was just the bass for like a couple seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just, that tone was just freaking amazing, and it sounded just completely different. I was just curious, did you do anything like different, or was there just because production was different, mixing, anything like that?
Well, pretty much everything was different from that, because the first
Okay.
EP was songs I had written years ago, when I was younger.
Okay.
From the time I was 15 to 17, recording that thing was pretty much what those songs were. And I hadn't really found, just as a writer myself, plus, getting Alex and Dylan to help write a lot with me.
Okay, yeah.
It wasn't quite developed yet. And recording it was was odd because a couple days before we went in to even record the entire thing, our drummer at the time was excused from the band.
Okay.
And then we were kind of in a shitty spot.
Yeah.
So I went back and I actually did the drums originally. It's not what you hear.
Okay.
I did the drums over those songs, click track drums.
Okay.
We had to re-record the rhythm guitars again, and pretty much we had to redo it all. And then I did the vocals in the closet at my room for that one. But Dylan came in, and then he played over pretty much what I just had for those songs. So
Okay.
it was a bit more disjointed, and he wasn't a part of like the process of that.
Right.
He was in the band for like a week, and I'm like, well, let's go track drums real quick for a few songs. And
Right.
but no, I mean, mixing wise, I thought I was smart and I could mix it myself. At the time, I couldn't. I didn't have the means to do it.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, the first EP was kind of like, all right, I learned my lesson from a lot of that. And, there's still a couple songs we like to jam and play if we got longer sets, because a few of the songs still translate pretty well live. But no, I mean, the world game is just an ante up in every sense,
Okay.
I find.
Yeah, I mean, just the couple that I had reacted to that people got to see, they were, I mean, I don't think I got to say it in the video. I think I might have cut it on accident, but in Within the Darkness, I really, the intro of that kind of made me, it kind of sounded almost kind of pirate metal.
Yeah, it's got that swing.
It was got that swing vibe. I was like, Jesus, this is really swingy. What, this is like pirate. I was like, in my head, I heard like Ailstorm, just in,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I heard Ailstorm singing over that. What was an album in your life that changed the way you kind of hear music, just as a whole? Like, what was that album?
The one I was listening to on the way up, which was Rust in Peace by Megadeth.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say it was probably a Megadeth record in my head. That's what I picked.
It is, and I had actually, I'll tell you my Megadeth saga because they're my favorite band. You can tell by a lot of the way that I write a lot of the songs on there that they had a big influence on me.
Oh yeah,
and well, I was in 5th grade, I remember, and my mom had the CD of the Black Album, so I'm listening to it, which is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
We can agree on that.
Masterpiece.
Yeah, and I'm jamming songs like that, and I remember my principal came up to me. His name was Mr. Gazorek, and he's like, "You ever heard of Megadeth?" My principal is telling me this, and I'm like, "No, I haven't." So we had cable at the time, and we had the on-demand music videos.
Okay.
This was back in like 2008, I think. So
Okay.
that was back when
Yeah, so it was like still a fairly new
YouTube
thing.
was kind of newish,
Yeah,
stuff like that.
Everything
So,
was still fairly new.
and I remember they had 3 songs on there by Megadeth. They had Symphony of Destruction, they had Peace Cells, and they had Train of Consequences.
Oh, that's
And I watched those over and over and over again. And then
Wow.
finally convinced my parents, at 10 years old, like, can I please get his Megadeth CD? And finally got me one. And
yeah, there you
eventually, I went buying the albums. But, I mean, Rust in Peace, I think, is, in my opinion, probably the greatest heavy metal album ever. I think it's aggressive, but it's melodic, and it's well written, and the guitars are just... I mean, you listen to Holy Wars or Hangar 18, Tornado
Yeah.
of Souls.
go. Yeah, Hangar 18, Jesus Christ. Yeah, the Tornado of Souls cover, actually, on the album, that was from a year or so ago as well.
Yeah, we recorded that April of last year. We
Okay.
did that, and then we did a remake of Crushing the Bones, which was also on there.
Yeah, I see. Yep.
We went back just because the guy we recorded with, Joe Chudik, who did the album again with us, who's a fucking great dude, and he knows his stuff like crazy. I mean, the guy's got gear up the yin yang. He could talk to you for hours about gear. Great dude though. But we wanted to go back and just record some songs and hang out. We had actually planned on kind of putting together an EP, because I remember a friend of mine that told me about Joe's, his band's doing that, where they kind of like go and do one song at a time for an album. And I'm like, well, how about we just go record a couple, and then if we want to do a few more later, we can.
Right.
But
okay.
it ended up just being an entire album, so
Yeah.
I guess that's a little better.
Yeah. So one question I had somebody ask me, but I completely forgot to mark their name. What did, during the process of writing and then recording the album, what did a normal day kind of look like as far as writing went with you and the rest of the band?
Writing. Well, when it comes to the normal day of writing, I would say it's kind of spontaneous. It's pretty easy to come up with just like, riffs. Me and Alex would jam for a while. That's how the majority of the song started here, was where me and Alex would jam. Alex start playing a cool riff, and I'd, try and throw something in after, and, we'd kind of piece it together by that. I'd record it on my phone, go home, and I'd listen to it a bunch, and then I'd just kind of fill in the blanks or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That process, then I'd pretty much have a structure, or like half a song structure, and I'd go to Dylan and I'd be like, kind of thinking this for drums, but you take it where you see fit with his style, and so I mean it every song was a bit different because like I said with Serpent, where it was just like, hey guys, I have a song, and then and it was kind of like that with Black World, or While the World Went Black, the 4th track on the album too, where it was just like, hey, I accidentally did a thing here. Here it is,
Hey, I did a thing.
Yeah.
Here.
And there were songs or riffs I was coming up with, and same with the other dudes, where it was just like, not feeling it. We gotta either develop it or just wait for the next time. Whenever that song comes to us, it'll come.
Mm-hmm. So I guess I'll just throw in a couple of other people's questions. My friend, Monica, she listened to, I think it was Serpents Bite. She wanted to know if there were any kind of old school death metal bands that you guys got inspiration from, because she was saying Serpents kind of sounded kind of inspired by like older, like 90s stuff.
Probably hear that a lot in the drums, because Dylan's a big death metal guy. I'm not quite as versed in death metal, but I do know that the band Death is a big inspiration on me. I had Symbolic and Human, which are two really awesome death metal albums. Even if you're a thrash fan and you're like, about death metal because of some of the vocals, listen to Death, because Death is, I think, one of the best death metal bands that blends the two pretty well, because Death and thrash are fairly close. A lot of those Florida bands. And James Murphy, who played with Death, and he's played with Testament. Some of Testament stuff got kind of death metal too.
Testament. I enjoy quite a bit of their stuff. They can definitely throw in death metal.
I mean, their old stuff's like old school thrash, but then their '90s and everything since then has kind of had that death metal influence, and it rocks. But James Murphy mastered the album, and he's a guy that had a big hand in a bit of the Florida death metal scene. He still lives down there.
Okay.
I mailed him a CD. Didn't cost me any extra, luckily.
Let's see here. Lyrically, do any of the songs on the album come from your personal life, which I think we kind of touched on? I mean, most of them sound, fairly, political in some capacity, and then I know full well that, a lot of, metal music tends to be written from some sort of experience in our life. I write like that quite often, so I know full well that I could definitely hear inspiration from personal experience. Is there any songs on there in particular you could think of, really?
Yeah, a lot of the lyric inspiration I get, it might be personal stuff, but I try to keep it relatable personal stuff, because people feel down, or people feel happy, or people feel pissed a lot. And Let It Die was a good example. I tried to do kind of like a 3-layer sort of thing, where I was talking about different situations with people, whether it's like a bad relationship, or it's like feeling shitty about yourself, or I'm trying to think, or like addictions, drug or alcohol or stuff like that, to let it die, to just kind of overcome and think about what you're doing, and let that shit die. It's pretty much what I was saying. But other musical inspirations, or lyrical I should say, that I would get was reading a lot of books, like Black World, just to shorten the name up, because there's like 6 letters or 6 words in it. And don't want to have a mouthful all the time. I can hardly speak anyways. But, Black World, I actually wrote that about aliens, weird enough. I was reading an Area 51 book. I actually bought it. I skipped a class in college and bought a book, ironically. Isn't that ironic?
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, and I was reading about like all the hidden government agencies and all this stuff, and I was just like, that's a cool thing to write a song about.
Yeah,
it's
right.
interesting.
Let's see. Yeah, I remember finding this one. I had to ask this one just because it was. Caitlin wants to know: are any of you the kind of crazy kind of
Dylan.
band member? No, chill. Just straight Dylan.
He's the drummer, man. If anybody's ever met a drummer in their whole life, I mean, I play drums, but I'm not a drummer.
Right.
If anyone's ever met a drummer in their whole life, they know they're the crazy one. But I fucking love the kid.
Yeah.
He's a good crazy one.
Yeah,
he's one of the good crazies.
Oh yeah, this is a good one. One of the last fan inspired questions. Where did Invictra come from? Where did that name come from?
Good question. Who asked that?
That was my buddy Phoenix.
Phoenix. Good question. So, originally the name that I had wanted was Amitra, and it was Ammitra, and I got that from because I like reading and history and stuff, and I got that from Amit was a Egyptian demon in their religion.
Okay.
And he I guess he was correct me, or someone can correct me if I get the story wrong, but from what I can remember, because this was years ago, was that it was like a demon that's like that you meet in purgatory on your way down, and like devours your head or something like that.
Okay.
Some weird thing. I don't know. Can't remember exactly, but Ra is the sun god.
Right.
And I mixed the two because one of my favorite records was Heaven and Hell by Black Sabbath.
Okay. Oh
with,
yeah.
Ronnie James Dio, and
Oh yeah.
and that's kind of what that was. The demon, and then the sun god, where it was that kind of
Yeah, it was
contrast.
like kind of heaven and hell. Yeah. Exactly.
And then our bass player at the time had read this poem that it was like a Latin poem that had roughly translated to like being unconquerable, and it was called Invict.
Okay.
So then I had like Invictra because it just kind of sounded cool.
Right. Yeah. Because when I first heard Invictra, I was like, Jesus, that's a badass band name. And then it actually had kind of been bugging me for a while. Like, where the hell did he come up with that? So I was glad when I shot out hey, let's ask questions, and Phoenix said that one. I was like, finally, somebody will get some answers. I only grabbed a couple of these just because you and I are both fairly nerding when it comes to guitars.
Absolutely.
So just threw in a couple just to kind of for all the guitar nerds out there, because I know Austin, you're probably going to watch this and want to know. Because I know you've got your Schecter. I know you've got that Telecaster you recently purchased.
It was Strat. Strat.
Yeah.
Close enough.
Yeah.
Still a Fender.
What was the first guitar you owned? Was it the other than that little acoustic one when you were 5? Was there was the first real one?
Yeah, the next one I got was an Epiphone out of a box.
Okay.
I remember it was like the little guitar and combo. I don't remember what.
Okay, so it was like the kind of Les Paul.
Yeah,
combo.
it was like it was kind of like Billy Joe Armstrong's, but like way shittier. And it wasn't quite that color. I remember it was like black, and then it like kind of went into like this wood grain sort of thing.
Oh,
I don't remember the model at all, but that was the first one I had. What I learned a lot of stuff on.
Okay. And then any amps, strings, because I know you guys kind of bounce with your tunings. I know the couple that I listened to for the reactions were D standard, and I think you said drop C sharp for Within the Darkness.
Yep.
Is there anything like that you really prefer, like tuning string wise, anything like that?
For the band, C sharp came because Alex is a big Lamb of God guy.
Okay.
And Lamb of God does a lot of stuff like that.
Yep.
In that tuning, and he was just like, I think it's a cool sounding tuning. We got to write some tunes and Let It Die's in that tuning as well.
Oh, okay.
So we wrote a couple like that, and then on the first EP, Crushing the Bones, and the bonus track there was in just regular drop C.
Okay.
Not sharp, and then. But for the band, yeah, D standard I think is the sweet spot because it's low. It's lower, but it's not too low. You know,
Yeah.
we're not sounding like
Yeah,
some.
we're not. You're not trying to like corn A standard.
Exactly, but
all the way down.
a lot of Megadeth stuff is in E standard. I know they do D standard these days because of Dave's voice, but
Yeah.
like, I mean, anything in that, you know, I'll tune pretty much to anything as long as this song sounds good in that tuning. That's cool. But
Yeah.
as for amps, I know Alex has the triple rectifier, the Mesa amp, and that's a nice amp.
Hell yeah, it is. Oh my god.
I still stick with the PV6505 Plus I bought a few years ago. I love
Okay.
that thing.
Yeah.
I usually run a 10-band EQ through my effects loop.
Okay.
So you can do a bunch with that. And I was actually learning about that from Joe. He was telling me more how to like dial it in better.
Yeah.
Learned a lot of tone things from him. But yeah, I mean, you know, I got that, and then I have the Strats now, the Pride and Joy, the Stevie Ray Vaughan reference. You know, that's now the main axe I use. But string wise, Diodarios are my favorite.
Okay.
You know, a lot of people go for Ernie Balls because that's like what everybody uses on the back. I remember, you know, you flip around the
Yeah,
back
you
of the
flip the
pack and
back.
it's got all those names,
Big
and
ass
you're like,
list of people,
fuck,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I should use these, you know. But I went to DR, the pure blues strings. I use thicker strings, 11 to 50.
Okay.
Even in the higher tunings, I punish my fingers. And then I tried out the NYXL Diodarios, which I talk to a lot of players now, and those are probably most popular strings I've heard from a lot of people now. I think they just stay in tune awesome. I'm not even endorsed by them, and I endorse them.
Yeah, I mean, from my own personal experience, I started with Diodarios. I just started on 9 to 42s just because, whatever. That was, you know, something to get my fingers used to. And then I could not keep one of those strings from breaking. Like, I broke a string trying to freaking restring the damn thing.
That's the worst.
I know, like, I don't even know, like, if it was just how I was playing them, because I'm very heavy-handed when I play.
Yep.
So I think that might have just been because I was playing this lighter gauge, playing all these, you know, like, I started like Crazy Train, all that, you know, all the normal things you start off learning. But I just could not keep the things in tune. I could not keep them, you know, I could not keep them from breaking. I broke my thick E string playing Crazy Train, and I don't know how the hell I managed that one, but I switched to Ernie Ball because my friend Jake plays with Ernie Ball, and he was like, here, try out this, and he gives me a set of 10 to 46, I think they were. So I try them out, tune them up, and haven't had an issue. They're probably, you know, that back package is like, yeah, sure, cool. All these people use it. A couple of my favorite bands that use them.
There's a reason everyone uses them. You know, there's got to be.
Yeah.
Or else they wouldn't.
I mean, they stay in tune great. I mean, I can sit there and literally, I sit there and like slap bass my guitars, and they stay in tune. You know, and it's, I mean, you know, mostly it's just now I've got, you know, a couple of better guitars. I've got a couple of LTDs now. But, you know, that back then it was just my Stratocaster that I Jimi Hendrixed.
Yep.
But, you know, I mean, you know, they're just strings that I use that I just kind of enjoy. You know, they feel great. You know, I use everything from E standard to A sharp standard. So I'm like, I go up and down the scale. I think the heaviest I use is 13 to 62. For the way low tunings, but you know, they're, you know, great. They're a great string company, and they feel amazing. The 10 to 52 Cobalts are what I use for my higher tunings, my D sharp and my E, and they feel freaking great, and their resonance is amazing. And on that new LTD, I just got a new LTD here like a week or two ago from Buzzos, and
Awesome.
They're I could literally strum that guitar, set it down, go to the bathroom, and come back, and it'd still be ringing. It's insane. But yeah, I mean, that's really kind of, you know, that's why I use them, just because they're, you know, they've, you know, been good to me and haven't really fucked with me yet.
It's all about what feels best for your hand, you know.
Yeah.
That's what makes the noise.
Oh yeah.
You gotta treat them right.
And I did notice on the album, if I'm correct, where was it? Yeah, I think you were the producer on the album as well. I think it was on Bandcamp. I might have seen it. And I think I saw you were also part of the mixing. I'm just curious, was there a reason you just kind of went ahead and took the lead on doing the production and all the mixing, or part of the mixing? Just
mainly because, you know, at this point I'm the most musically experienced.
Right.
I on the first EP, like I thought I knew what I was doing, and I tried to do it all by myself, and
Yep.
I couldn't. But direction-wise, like for the songs, I feel like I have a good sense of direction on where they should be going. Like Within the Darkness, Alex came up with most of that. I just kind of helped,
Okay.
tie the shoes. That's
Okay.
pretty much it.
Yeah.
I guess we really produced ourselves. I was just really the one that was the present for everybody recording, including myself, and then being like, "Good take," or do another. That's
That
pretty.
sucked.
Yeah, I mean
Yep.
that's pretty much a producer's job.
Yeah.
It's such an overrated term in terms of like what rappers use now, where it's like, "Oh, produced by this guy." I'm like, all he did was tell you if you sounded good or not.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
right.
saying? Like,
Right.
it's not that difficult. But for mixing, I sat down because I wanted to learn about it with Joe.
Mm-hmm.
And he's worked on tons of awesome projects, mainly like more indie stuff that's not metal.
Right.
But still, I mean, the guy has a great ear for music and just
Right.
knows what to hear.
And yeah, especially going from, like an indie project to a metal project. Indie, there's going to be like 17 tracks that he's got to mix into one song. Whereas, with metal, it's like maybe 5 or 6 tops.
Well, the drums are.
Yeah, the drums are probably the biggest issue.
There's quite a, and he's a drummer too, so he's very meticulous with it.
Okay, yeah.
But mainly my mixing input was just, a lot of the stuff he would do on his own. I went over to his house and we would work on it, and we'd listen, and I'd be like, well, this, we should raise this, or we should make this quieter, or,
Right.
just kind of like the input on, where I could hear the songs going.
Right, what would sound, what would fit this part of the song best, where it says, maybe duck that or raise it here,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let me see, I forgot one. I think I forgot one. Oh no, I didn't. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much all I have. I thought I grabbed more questions, but so I guess, is there, as far as I've noticed, just an EP and an album, you guys really sound like you guys have kind of dialed yourselves in as far as, what you guys want to sound like. My question, I guess, just one last final one would be for the next one, could you see yourself kind of trying to take a risk as far as, because I know you guys write a lot of stuff that's kind of definitely like Megadeth influence and all that. Is there, in your head, would there be a place on the next one, say, to try, doing something like Sad But True maybe, where it's just kind of slower, a little more melodic, a little more kind of, just absolutely bare bones kick ass? Because I could definitely see something with slower that would work, just as well for, say something like, that would fit kind of like in tandem to a Cardinal Sin, where that one's just brutal and just like absolutely in your face, and then this one just kind of kicks back but still manages to kick your ass out from underneath you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We actually just got a new bass player actually,
Okay.
and he writes a lot of melodic stuff, and
Okay.
some of the I just kind of been kicking the tires on just a riff or two here or there. I got a bunch of stuff recorded too. We're gonna focus on promoting this first, and playing all the shows, and getting the most we can out of the World Game.
Oh yeah.
But when we do sit down, it's just gonna be building off the sound that we have now, and if that means like the Sad But True thumpers, or
Oh, yeah.
it means like a not a bluegrass song, but, just
Yeah, I like
anything
to see that
anything that we can build with that just
kind
growing as writers, anything that we build with, anything that comes to us, anything that feels natural will show up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, again, just from these, couple, this almost 20 songs you guys have, it just sounds like you guys have really managed to kind of find what works and, makes you guys different. Because I know that, for some bands, it takes them, 4 or 5 albums to find out, oh, hey, this is what we like, and this is, something that they get known for. Band that I could think of, Breaking Benjamin, it took them till their 3rd album to find what they needed. to kind of become what they are now, which is this really like aggressively grungy yet super super melodic kind of sound. And that's it's not easy to find your own thing, but it's really, you guys have dialed it in really quickly, and that's it really just kind of puts me in awe, because it does take a lot of time to kind of find it and then build on it.
It does. It didn't just show up one day. It doesn't show up one day for anyone, I know my cousin, she just got a violin, and it's a cheap one, but it's the one to start with, and she's like, I always wanted to do it. I'm like, well, you need to play it like every single day.
Mm-hmm.
You need to not stop playing it if you want to get any kind of good at it, know?
Oh yeah.
And some people want instant results,
Mm-hmm.
whether that's playing guitar or violin or trying to, lose 20 pounds. Everybody's like, if it doesn't happen the next day, they give up on it.
Yep.
Oh
yeah, I totally feel that. Let's see if I can kind of dig up a question or so. I actually, when I first started listening to the album on Bandcamp, the intro Poveglia,
mm-hmm.
I was not expecting any capacity of like an intro track. I was expecting, like it was short, so I figured it was going to be kind of thrashy, but then it
mm-hmm.
just like was just this noise.
Yep.
What kind of inspired, we should put an intro on this album, what was that?
Well, that acoustic intro you hear at the beginning was that was on the demo of Another Reason to Hate. I had wrote that at my house.
Okay.
And I guess the entire time we felt like that should have had a place on the album, because it was a cool line.
Right. Yeah. Definitely different from the rest of the album for sure.
Yeah. I mean, there's like, I think there's 3 or 4. I think there's 3. No, I don't know. Probably 3, 4, or 5 acoustic tracks on there, kind of layered to make it sound like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the noises there was kind of foreshadowing, sounds from the album. Like we took noises from the end of Black World, put them in there, and we were using noises from like the end of Within the Darkness, to kind of build up, and then it just kind of climaxes into Another Reason to Hate.
Yeah.
Actually, I gave a CD to a buddy of mine that at work, and he's like, man, that intro was weird. I didn't know what was going on. I'm like, well, we wanted it to be weird,
Mm-hmm.
We were cranking it at the studio on those, $12,000 speakers.
Yeah.
They were just, it was just like rattling, and it was kind of like, made you feel like anxious, kind of like I wanted to.
Yeah, it was definitely unsettling for sure. The first time I listened to it, I was like, God, this is definitely weird, and then it just kicked right into the song. I was like, holy shit. But yeah, I mean, yeah, you guys like that. Put the little social media. See if I can get it.
Gotta get the plugs in there, man.
Yeah,
You're getting there. Other side. There we go.
Yeah, put it right on the bottom of the CD.
We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
We're on Bandcamp. You can find us anywhere.
All that's going to be down below. I got to thank Josh again for coming out, dude.
Thank you,
really
Damon.
awesome.
Appreciate it, my man.
And little bonus surprise for, because I've been telling people there's going to be surprise for this little video. This right here is going to one of you fuckers. This is really cool. I talked to him about it like, hey, this would be a cool idea. Oh, sure. So, put your guys' names down below, and I'll let it go for a couple weeks. I'll put them all together, put them in a little bucket, put up a video, or maybe I'll even live stream it. And, whoever I draw, we'll talk, get your address and shit. I'll get all that together, and you have a free CD.
Yes, and I hope you like it.
The first time I heard A Cardinal Sin, when I first heard that, I definitely was like, well, this shit's going right up there with like something off of Injustice, because it was just, I mean, it sounded no different. It definitely could have like pick out something, and there you go.
Alex will appreciate that one.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. I mean, the whole album is just full of just kick-ass riffs. I mean, you could pick any Megadeth or Metallica record and put this up against it, and I mean, sure, they'll whoop your ass, but it definitely gives it a run for its money for sure.
Rightfully.
Oh yeah.
Rightfully they will.
Rightfully so. I bow down to you. Alrighty, yeah. So that'll be it for this lovely video people. I might not even just, I'll just kind of edit little stupid things in the corners. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this lovely interview. Thank you again to Josh for coming out. All my shit's going to be down below as well. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoy. You guys know what to do. You know, like the video. Comment your thoughts. What did you guys think of the album? If you guys have gone and checked it out on Bandcamp. I mean, you know, you can listen to it. You can buy it. Definitely worth the support. I definitely, you know, I went already and bought it as soon as it was able to be bought. You know, it's definitely worth the buy for, you know, thrash metal and kind of death metal fans, because he's got that voice for it for sure. Anyway, yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will talk to you guys in the next video. Peace out, and rock the fuck on.